Hey everybody, welcome back to Has to Do with Spider-Man. I think it's been a while. We took a break over the holidays into January. If all goes according to plan, this is the first time you guys are hearing us back.
And it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Since I first saw you. If you're joining us for the first time today, this has to do with Spider-Man, I think. The number one Sony Pictures Universe of Marvel movie podcast, on account of us being the only one. We still need to double check that, even though it's been it's been over a month now.
We've had so much time to check that, and I don't think anybody.
I'm so sorry to say this. I did just start up my own Sony Pictures of the SPUMM podcast. So you are number two again.
Oh, you can't do this to me.
I am encroaching in on your territory, and I'm stealing all your viewers.
We started this podcast. You know how much I sacrifice. So the fourth voice that you've heard earlier, joining us on our big return, is RPG aficionado, the player of Hunter in the ongoing actual play podcast You Begin in a Tavern, and the host of that channel's Tavernside Chats, which yours truly, as in me, Peyton, was a part of a couple weeks ago. Will of You Begin in a Tavern, how you doing today?
Sick but good.
Sick but good.
We'd love to hear that.
Where I am in the States right now, I'm set to get 20 inches of snow tomorrow.
Oh, same.
Nice. So I think that I'm not going to school at all this week.
We used to pray for days like this.
Let's see where.
It is currently snowing outside right now. I'm praying the power does not go out for some reason during this recording.
Oh God, same here. Yeah, for those listening in, we are recording this January 24th, so it's right before the giant snowstorms hitting the United States.
A great blizzard of 26.
We're at potential 10 inches.
Jeez.
So,
some would say 10 inches is too much.
Hey, yo.
Maybe
I think most people would say 10 inches is too much.
Maybe 3.
I think if you think 10 inches is just right, there's an issue there.
Insert some kind of 18 inches of Venom joke here.
Yeah, it's 18 inches.
18 inches of snowfall.
Oh,
19 inches of snowfall.
Yeah, it's 19.
When that Venom figure came out, did anybody? Do y'all know anybody that got it?
Literally, it is in my best friend's living room right now. They got the PlayStation, the special edition PlayStation for that, and so they have that statue in their living room. It watches me every time I DM from their house.
I mean, as much money as much of a financial commitment as 19 inches of Venom would be, that's got to be the main display piece in the living room.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I did not buy we got a PS5 around the time that was coming out and that Baldur's Gate 3 was coming out, and that was truly one of the best time periods to be a gamer. The amount of time I sunk into that video game was insane, which actually has gotten me to I've been even able to tie that into my lessons, because I always bring up how Craven is inspired by Most Dangerous Game, the short story, and because I teach a lot of nerds, a lot of kids are very excited about that.
That's sick.
Heck yes.
My wife is absolutely obsessed with Baldur's Gate 3.
It's a great game.
Astarion is the biggest competitor for my affections.
Hey, Noah, guess what? Same here.
I'm afraid you both will be losing that battle.
And you know what? I'm fine with that. That is a very gorgeous man.
I'm not. I'm going to throw that vampire twink in the toilet.
Ooh. He's the gloves are off.
I hate him.
Didn't you draw a Lego figure?
I hate him.
Yeah, you did draw a Lego Asterion from my recollection.
Yeah, because it was for my wife, and I love my wife more than I hate Astarion.
That is fair. See, I love Carlac so much. Of all of the romanceable ones, her and Will are my favorite.
Carlac's pretty hot.
Yeah, literally.
Totally not Googling every single character y'all are bringing up because I have
Yeah,
not
I have
played
no clue
Baldur's
who these
Gate
people are. I
3.
know Asterion, that is all.
Yeah.
Carlac is like a 7-foot tall, buff demon woman who is covered in like scars and stuff because she's like a hellish warrior.
Oh,
And
yeah,
Will
she's
is just
mommy. I've
like,
seen her.
yeah, Will is like this Prince Charming warlock. He's like a person of color, and he has he can like gain demon horns in the story if you don't like do what his patron says. It's a great game. You should play it.
Oh.
My favorite of the party in a BG3, because I have been listening to the game every now and then, is the absolute pathetic man that is Gale.
Yeah, Gale's great.
I adore that idiot, and I hope he never gets what he deserves.
Harsh.
Dang.
I played Baldur's Gate 3 for, I want to say, about an hour and a half, and I kind of got, there are specific types of games that just do not grab me, and top-down, like, turn-based stuff was not my thing. I enjoyed the story that it was telling, but I completely fell off of it.
I'm just such a D&D aficionado, or as you said in the intro, RPG aficionado, that I like saw that game and I immediately gravitated towards it. I do think it's one of the best ways to get people into like TTRPGs, alongside like actual play shows and stuff like that.
That's fair. D&D is something I've been doing for a few years now. I really enjoy it. I've not played really in a bit, but I am actually joining a campaign with some of our friends and should be playing pretty soon.
That sounds absolutely wonderful.
We're meeting on the call, and me and Will have already just completely hit it off.
Yeah, y'all, look, I've been watching this show for a while and I'm so happy to be on here. I have such a love-hate relationship with the Sony movies.
That's us.
So seeing like somebody do them justice again, it's like I think those movies had great concepts because like second only to Batman, I think that Spider-Man has one of the best rogues galleries in all of comic books. But like you could truly do like so many movies based off of them, except Sony just made the dumbest decisions the entire time through.
Absolutely.
You don't develop 60 years of comic book history without creating some pretty in-depth backstories and like pathos for every character involved within that world. And it's an absolute goldmine. It's ridiculous to me that Sony wasn't able to actually capitalize on it.
For real.
Literally, what really sold me as like a fan of the podcast was when in the El Muerto pitch, I forget who wrote that one.
No, that would be me.
Noah, you made a reference of it being inspired by the Tournament of Masters from Ninjago. I got that and I was like, oh hell yeah! Like I am sold on this.
Noah always brings in the best pitches. It's it's really awesome.
I appreciate that. Yeah, the Tournament of Elements was my favorite Ninjago season for quite a long time. Should we start like reading through
Probably.
this pitch?
Once again, we're all speaking Greek about Lego stuff. Leave it to Noah to draw inspiration from the Lego cartoon. But I mean, it clearly attracted some people. When he said Tournament of Masters and when he said Ninjago in the pitch, I remember going, "Oh, here we fucking go." But,
Oh my goodness.
so I gotta ask. You said, well, people have already read the title by this point, but this is you brought us a loose pitch for a Cloak and Dagger movie, who many people don't know were actually introduced in a Spider-Man comic. I believe Spectacular Spider-Man.
Peter Parker, Spectacular Spider-Man 64.
Oh wow,
Smarty pants.
you had that like off the top of your head.
I took notes before the episode. I'm proud of myself.
That's more research than I did on them. That's a lie. I did go back and read some of their key issues and like kind of took a little inspiration from that. I mainly chose Cloak and Dagger because they were one of those characters who like I knew they existed from like the TV show they did, but I kind of really didn't have any connection to them. It wasn't until actually Marvel Rivals came out that I really
Nice.
I love that game. I'm actually a coach for an esports team of that game as well.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, I started playing that game and I hate aiming. I'm bad at it. And so I needed to find a character who I didn't have to aim with, like Moira from Overwatch when I still played that game. And I found Cloak and Dagger and I found Scarlet Witch and I'm like, okay, cool. I'll go with Cloak and Dagger. Like I love these I really started creating a bond with these characters. And then when I invited Peyton on my show and like we mentioned me coming on to do some kind of guest episode for y'all, it was the thing of like, okay, cool. God, what Spider-Man villain do I choose here? Because I knew I had to do some kind of Spider-Man villain, and I looked, and then I wasn't finding any. I initially picked Hollow's Eve as my character, and then I had a great idea, wrote 20 pages of a script, and then was told, hey, Hollow's Eve was actually already claimed. And I was like, oh, man. Part of me was like a tiny little bit upset. And then I found out Dalton DeShane, they were the one who claimed it. I'm like, okay, that tracks. That is justifiable that they're the one to get that script. And then I was looking at a list of characters that appeared in Spider-Man comics, and I saw Cloak and Dagger on there. I'm like, okay, sure, I'll come up with some idea for them. And then I just kept on like rolling the idea around in my head and kind of and as I was listening to the podcast, I really had a really good like angle of what to do with them.
Hell yeah. I'm really intrigued by the premise. And you know, when we first started the guest pitches, I was worried that we had set up an unprecedented thing because Luke and Jonah were so kind to bring in full scriptments. And I would never ever want somebody to do that because it takes so much out of us to do full scripts.
Asking people who are not like full-time on the podcast to like write, like making the expectation that everybody needs to write like 20-30 pages minimum in order to bring a pitch on. We never wanted that expectation from the outset, but we have been very blessed up to this point that people have been just so willing to do that. But it's also very nice to kind of come with something a little looser and be able to kind of discuss it and talk about it.
Right.
Well.
Yeah, I wrote a cold open and then I kind of like have bullet points that I was going to like talk through the rest of it. But I did cast a lot of my favorite actors for this. I also did pick a director for this too.
Okay.
My director is Anthony Hemingway. He is not primarily. Yeah, I can hear the tapping there. He is not primarily a film director. He did a lot of second unit or assistant directing work on a bunch of famous films. But the thing that drew me to him was number one, he is a director of color, which I think for Cloak and Dagger I would want for that. But also, he directed the Community episode, Epidemiology, which is like the zombie apocalypse episode for that one. And that has some of the greatest fight choreography and like comedy and character writing in that entire show. And I think he would do it well. The other detail that is that he was an assistant director for the movie The Manchurian Candidate too, and that's why I chose him.
Interesting.
So would this technically be his directorial debut, like as a solo director?
I think it would be.
Okay.
Remind me the name.
Anthony Hemingway.
Anthony.
That's for the that's for the wiki. That's for the wiki there.
Gotcha. Awesome. Fantastic.
So
I don't see why not.
Yeah, sure. I think that's a good fit. And you made a pretty solid case. An interesting thing about Cloak and Dagger that I'm wondering if you will talk about with us a little bit later is that they're mutants. Am I correct in saying that, or are they mutates?
I
They're
want to say they're
mutates.
mutates like
They're
Spider-Man.
mutate.
mutates. They have been on multiple X-Men teams in the past.
Of course they
I
have.
don't play with a lot of the mutant stuff in this pitch because I kind of have an alternate like origin story for their powers. But
Okay.
I think they could play around in that world a lot.
It's
Interesting.
my understanding that the comic origin for Cloak and Dagger, they were experimented on with energy from the dark dimension.
The dark dimension and the light dimension, yes.
Right. Okay.
And it was like a evil drug kingpin who was like testing people off the streets to do it.
And then I think this is retcon to have some connection to Mr. Negative, correct?
Right.
Mr. Negative was his stuff was derived from their powers, if I remember correct.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know
Yes.
that.
Intriguing.
That's neat.
Let's get into this cold open real quick and then talk about your pitch. Because I now I'm like hearing about that Mr. Negative thing. I'm like suddenly
Mhm.
really, really intrigued.
I am curious to know if anybody is familiar with the 2-season show that ran on Freeform for Cloak and Dagger.
Yes, I watched the pilot of this in preparation, and I read I read plot summaries. I use some of the same characters just because they're big villains in the world of Cloak and Dagger. It doesn't really. My pitch kind of is not like I try to stay away from some of the stuff that they covered.
Okay. Yeah. I think I saw the first season as it was coming out, and then I never watched season 2. And apparently later it crossed over with that Hulu show Runaways.
Yes, it's a
Which I also
very
never
dark
saw.
show.
I'm not familiar with the show. I know that Tandy is Dagger and Tyrone is
Yes.
Cloak. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I want to get into this. We have a severe lack
let's do
of
it.
superheroes in the Sony Pictures universe of Marvel movies. Like we only got Spider-Man and we got Big Wheel now. So this could be our third.
Excuse you, greatest hero of New York, Big Wheel.
True.
Yes, indeed.
This could be our third hero. Well, I guess the clones are there too, but third hero introduced into the podcast, third and fourth. If this ends up canon, which we shall see. Let's just dive
Wonderful.
into it.
Cold open. Over the Sony credits, we hear the song Blackbird by the Beatles. Opening on a dark screen, we slowly see a POV shot as someone begins to open their eyes. The frame focuses and we see Tandy, aka Andy Bowen, played by Dove Cameron, best known from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Schmigadoon.
And
She
Descendants.
shakes him. What?
And Descendants and Liv and Maddie.
And Descendants and Liv and Maddie, too. He shakes him gently and places a coffee on his side of the bed.
Morning, sleepyhead.
The shot slowly slips around to reveal Tyrone Ty Johnson, played by Lou Wilson, best known from
Holy
Dropout and The
frick.
King of Staten Island. He adjusts himself in bed and
Lou!
smiles, looking up at her.
What time is it?
Enough time for you to enjoy your coffee.
We see a really cute montage of them getting ready in the morning. They get dressed together, finish each other's sentences, grab things at each other. They seem to work perfectly in sync.
You want me to drive?
You could drive on the way home.
Sounds perfect, sunshine.
A normal scene of them driving the car, not really saying anything. Not because there's an awkward silence at all, but when you're living with someone for so long, you kind of don't have a lot to say with each other.
My mom reached out last night.
Oh shit, you didn't say anything.
I didn't feel like I had anything to say back to her.
Good. Set that boundary with her. Like they talked about in therapy, you only have to talk to her when you're ready. You don't owe her a relationship.
Andy nods. This seems like a conversation they've had multiple times. We see the car pull up at the feast shelter.
My uncle passed.
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry.
Ty shrugs.
We all kind of knew it was going to happen. Still hurts that it did, though.
Andy leans back and lets out a sigh.
Ready to do this?
Ready as long as you are, sunshine.
We can see a regular day from the two of them. Ty's in the kitchen cooking, and he's damn good at it. We see that he's very comfortable in the leadership role. He struggles a bit when it comes to actually interacting with people when giving out the food, failing at making small talk. Andy is filming TikTok trends with the people at the homeless shelter, getting testimonials, and overall doing a good job. It's clear that they are doing a really good at what they do. Today's also a special anniversary, the 5th anniversary of Feast. There's balloons and a party that's about to happen.
Uh-oh.
As Ty gets a moment to look down his phone, Andy is sent a text.
Lee's in his office. Let's go.
After this montage sequence, we get the two of them practicing something in the hallway.
Okay, so repeat it back to me one more time.
Mr. Lee, I know you're looking to hire a new head chef, and I was hoping I could fill that position.
Good, you're going to do great, honey.
They see someone going up to the office. It's May Parker.
Everything okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to go check on Lee. Ty, he'd be a fool not to give you the head cook position.
That's what I said.
They embrace, and she kisses him on the top of the head. It's a cute moment.
What would I do without you?
Probably have a lot less fun.
They kiss. It's adorable and saccharine to the point of almost being gross. They begin to make their way towards Martin Lee's office. May Parker is in the doorway. The two of them look at each other confused as dark particles begin floating in the air, and there seems to be a bunch of figures in the office. As the two move closer as they do, and then bang, an explosion goes off, and we get a slow-mo title sequence over the credits as Andy and Ty are blasted backwards with two tendrils of black and white energy. As they land, the two energies begin to coat their bodies. Ty in a Vanta black-like substance, and Andy in a substance that's almost as bright as the sun. Title card, Cloak and Dagger.
Holy frick, dude.
Okay.
Up. The cloak and dagger get their powers from the feast explosion. I love it.
I love it.
I truly had that idea of like, okay, because Martin Lee already exists in this universe, I think that you can just trace that back instead of having him get his powers from them. They get their powers from him, and so his light force and dark force energies that he has, they each get hit with like one of those tendrils. She gets the light sides of his powers, and he gets the dark side of his powers.
Interesting.
That's fantastic. I love how you worked that in.
Yeah.
You kind of have like the tools in the toolbox to play with. And so when I knew that Martin Lee was in this story, in this universe, I'm like, okay, I think I can be able to work it in a way. And I also think that if this was an actual cinematic universe, seeing the events of the feast disaster from the other side, it's kind of like how in Hawkeye we see Kate Bishop during the Battle of New York, and so kind of seeing the other sides of these big events that we knew happened, and also seeing May Parker kind of like digs the dagger in a little bit deeper.
I really like these casting decisions. I knew Dove Cameron. Lou Wilson took me a second. I was like, I'll look him up later.
Holy frick, you chose
Lou Wilson.
Yes.
I love Lou so much.
Great pick.
I also made sure to look it up, like age-wise. She's 30 and he's 33, so...
yeah, I looked that up as soon as I saw that too.
The age difference is not... It's not a bad age difference. It's also probably a realistic age difference for these characters. But also, I wanted Andy to have kind of that movie star look to her, and Ty to look like a normal guy. And also, I think that there's a huge lack of body diversity in superhero movies. And so I think that including a plus-size individual would be, I would want to see that too.
For sure. This is tight.
What drove you to Lou specifically?
I think that Lou has such a good dramatic energy to him, where he is somebody who can and be like very, very funny on a dime and then gut punchingly sad. Like Lou just has such a strong comedic presence, but can also go dramatic at the top of a hat too.
I love the pick. I love Dropout. I think so many of those performers are just phenomenal. And I love the idea of pulling them into more Hollywood roles like this for these pitches. I never would have considered it. But now that you've opened the door,
He was on the Jimmy Kimmel show too. Like,
yeah,
he has his foot in the door of Hollywood. Act 1, we find out that they were both in a coma for a little bit. Undisclosed amount of time. I probably imagine somewhere within like the 1 to 3 month range there. After Feast went under and the events of Martin Lee were revealed to the public there, a company named Marshall Pharmaceuticals, who had a small stake in Feast, kind of in a leveraged buyout, took over and stepped in for them, basically buying out and kind of taking over the branding and the locations of these shelters. As they're kind of waking up, we get introduced to Simon Marshall and Dr. Ulysses Spare, a billionaire out of the kindness of his own heart, has paid their treatment. Simon Marshall, I imagine, would be played by Brett Goldstein from Ted Lasso.
Okay.
He kind of has this like perfectly like charming, like suave aura to him, but that can also be kind of off-putting there. Like, it is kind of too perfect of a build. God. And Dr. Ulysses Spare is played by Kristen Stewart of Twilight fame.
Oh yeah.
Kind of as androgynously as possible. Essentially, like they kept them here in their like one of their own private hospitals there for a little bit, and just checking on them out of the, again, kindness of their own heart, as they're one of the they are some of the few survivors of the Feast catastrophe. Eventually they get released from the hospital and go back to living at their old place. They're also told that they still have jobs at Feast if they would like them. However, there is no more head chef position there, as they are cutting a bunch of the operations of the shelter to try and save money. They go back to their house and find out that things are not quite the same as they used to be. We kind of get a small little montage that's a parallel of them getting ready from the cold open, but their powers are getting in the way of things. Ty calls out that their plant from the house is dead, but then when Andy looks over, touches it, goes to the kitchen and looks back at it, it's perfectly alive again. Ty accidentally keeps phasing through objects and like nearly tripping. And then as soon as the two of them get powers, they look at each other and tell each other as soon as possible of like, hey, what's happening to you here? As soon as they get those powers, they go to a pizza place called Lee's. And on the news story, in a little bit of subtle world building, there's a news story going on talking about a new drug that is hitting the streets called D-Light or pentombrinol. A drug kingpin named Silvermane is in charge of it. We see that Silvermane in a shot is played by Giancarlo Esposito. And we also hear that a bunch of homeless people off of the city streets are going missing. They go back to their job at Feast, and we kind of see the impact of them. A lot of the regulars that they would have interacted with, or we saw them kind of like being friends with in the cold open, are just not there. People who might have we saw again leaving after the Feast shelter explosion. And we get this, there would probably be some kind of like comedic scene here where they keep on accidentally using their powers at work and have to hide them. And as they're on their way to their lunch, kind of like trying to hush talk about their powers, what's going on. There's a big attack on a city block. There's a bunch of people hopped up on this new drug called D-Light that begin rampaging through. It looks to be similar to those people affected by Mr. Lee's negative touch. One of them we see is actually one of the homeless peoples that they helped earlier at a feast shelter. They kind of get into a fight. They are trying to not harm him. They're trying to help him, but again, their powers keep on getting into the way. And there's a weird moment where, again, Andy seems very, very invested in being like this showy public persona, and Ty is afraid of the spotlight there. After they defeat him, they kind of go check to see how he's doing, and they find a small totem on his person, and that would be the end of Act 1 there.
Okay.
Okay. I do have one note.
Yes.
I believe Silvio Manfredi is established to be dead in the original Montana.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I
This
was
could
thinking
easily
about
be
that.
somebody else like Tombstone or
I
the
think the
Owl.
owl. Yeah. Owl would probably be a very good use case for this.
What's the vibe of the owl?
So let me look up the owl real quick.
The thing with the owl is he first appeared in Daredevil. We keep bringing up
Yeah,
the
we
owl,
did have
but
that
he first...
conversation in Montana as well.
Okay, so hold on. Wait, hold on. I'm calling Sony right now. Give me a second. Okay. Oh wait, hold on. I just dialed the wrong person. Oh, hey, it's me. It's JC Chandor. How you doing? Hey, JC, I got a quick question for you. You can talk to Sony, right? Yeah, sure. Let me talk to them real quick. No. Wait. Just ask them a quick question. Can we bring in Owl? I know that he's owned by Daredevil and that he's like technically part of Marvel. Can we bring him into the main Sony stuff? Sure. I don't see why not. Okay, thank you, JC. All right. So JC Chandor gave us the opportunity. Director of Kraven the Hunter. Yeah.
Peyton, I assumed you two weren't on speaking terms after you made him run off and get hit by a car.
He healed.
He got better.
He has
You know
an
what?
insane healing factor.
You know what? We don't know what happened off screen.
True.
Maybe he narrowly dodged it.
I'm fine with this either being Owl or Tombstone.
There's a part of me that hesitates to use Giancarlo Esposito in the Owl role, just because I don't know. I could foresee him playing some different characters in the future.
That's fair. It
got
truly also
plans.
does not have to be Giancarlo Esposito. It can be John Hamm. Truly, whatever we want.
I've got the perfect one.
Who?
Frederick Foswell, the Big Man.
The
The
who?
Captain
I'm fine with
America
Big
villain?
Man.
No, he
Oh,
first
no,
appeared
no.
as ASM. It was ASM number 10. He debuted alongside the Enforcers.
Okay, I was thinking of Fat Guy.
Who the heck is Fat Guy?
Oh, this guy has a vibe to him. I
Big Man?
enjoy
Yeah, I like
his
Big
vibe.
Man. I like Big Man.
John Hamm is Big Man?
Sure.
Okay,
John Hamm Big Man?
sure.
Yeah, I can do John Hamm as Big Man.
SpongeBob Big Guy?
Pants okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Alrighty.
Other notes that you guys have at all?
So there is a. So I assume that this company would probably retitle the Feast organization to the Parker Morbius Foundation, or Noah could clarify this because I can't remember if the Parker Morbius Foundation is a separate entity or if it's still tied in with Feast.
So, I mean, I'd be fine with the idea that Feast itself, its branding was stolen by, a company that has less than less than altruistic ideas for how to use the foundation.
It could also be that like they just got one shelter out of like their leveraged buyout there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I imagine there's more than one feast shelter in New York.
Yeah, so actually that would make a little more sense. Like Lucian buys the one that the explosion happened in, so that it can be in the Parkers and Morbius' memory, but this other, like the rest of the homeless shelters in New York, were still owned by, an overseeing company that could be used in this more villainous way.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to tip my hand a little bit here. A lot of this story is a direct response to the opioid crisis and the Sacklers.
Oh, okay.
Because a lot of the original story about the original Cloak and Dagger story was very much a like kind of like drug PSA type thing, or like it was like a very anti-drug story, and I'm like, okay, how do I do this in the modern day without? And I'm like because let's be real, the companies are the ones who are at fault for the opioid crisis. I'm like, if this becomes like a like genre wise, this is very much a superhero romantic conspiracy thriller of finding out who's behind like the D-Light stuff that's hitting the streets, which is why Manchurian Candidate was chosen. The opioid crisis is one of our biggest modern day comparisons to drug issues.
Interesting.
I
fuck with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hop into Act 2, question mark?
Let's do it.
Sure. Absolutely.
Sweet. After they find the totem, there's a lot of police officers who are like looking at what just happened. And so Ty teleports them out of here, something that he learns he's able to do. And then they have a conversation on a rooftop. Andy sees that they have these powers here and wants to do some kind of change. Ty is afraid that they're going to get into trouble, or that because, again, vigilanteism is still illegal and not something that, like, it is super dangerous as well. The two of them do have a rational adult conversation about this. They kind of talk it out and have, like, again, you can tell that these two characters love each other and care about each other, and they're willing to like make these sacrifices like a normal healthy couple should. And then Ty says, okay, but if we're going to do this, we need to have some kind of disguise because it's us against the world. They decide to try and investigate whatever this totem is that they collected off of their friendly unhoused person that attacked them, hopped up on this D-Light drug. Tandy is able to find out that this totem belongs to some kind of cult called Despair's Children. This Bohemian Grove type cult for a bunch of older rich people. They find a photo of members, and they see Simon Marshall in there, the president of Tandy's old high school, and some guy who looks conspicuously like John Hamm. Cut to Horizon Heights, her high school, where they're talking to Max Modell, played by Bradley Whitford of West Wing and Get Out fame. They have the cloak of trying to do they're lying, saying that they're doing research for some kind of occult spooky podcast that they're doing together. He asks what the name of it is, and they just throw out some kind of fake name off the top of their head. They call it Cloak and Dagger, and then basically she's able to use her kind of natural movie star style charm to kind of get the info out of him. Basically, he says that it's just a gentleman's club, but as a member of it, he's not really allowed to say much more. They leave. Max Modell calls somebody and says to whoever is on this other side of the phone, hey, we are in trouble. as they're walking out. There's a group of people who are kind of hopped up on pentombranol. I imagine it's one of those shots where it's kind of a walk and talk, and you see that one person in the crowd begins following after them, the other person, and then another person, until there's an entire crowd of people all hopped up on this kind of drug that essentially puts you under the Martin Lee's corrupting touch. And again, these are, as we saw from the intro, these are a bunch of the different unhoused people that we saw from the intro that have gone missing. So there's a fight scene here. Again, very Anthony Hemingway, like highly choreographed, very over the top action stuff. Kind of weird to see them fully melding each other with their powers here. And then as soon as they are about to win, they get shot with basically what look like tranquilizing darts as two people dressed as police officers begin to come and take them away. That would be the midpoint of Act 2.
Interesting.
And now for something completely different.
Hey everyone!
It's co-host Payne here, just hopping in to talk a bit about a book that is releasing on February 13th by David Karisis, titled When Nightmares Crawl, edited by yours truly. That's right, outside of Spider-Man fanfiction, I actually edit books, and this is the first one that has been published. Released through the indie press line by line, When Nightmares Crawl is a gothic romantic tragedy blending horror and psychotic turmoil into one amazing novel. The story follows two scientists in 19th century Vermont as they uncover a vampiric skull that one day sprouts spider legs. And that's all I'll leave you with. I was honored to get to edit this, and it is set to release February 13th, 2026. Pre-orders are available and linked below. Go support David. I love hearing whenever a story gets out there. Now, back to the pitch.
Okay.
So, what I'm really enjoying about this as a premise is that it's kind of continuing on like a loose thread that we have not played with, and also this hasn't really conflicted. And Jared and Noah, you could correct me if I'm wrong. This hasn't really conflicted with anything that we've been planning or thinking about doing with Martin Lee, or like the sort of like the premise of having this drug that replicates Lee's powers, is a very interesting one, or the corruption thing. It's a very interesting one. We kind of, I remember when we were doing that planning episode for Lethal Protectors, and it might be in there. Maybe it was like after we were recording, but we talked about Martin having a sort of gang, and then that did not happen in the main script. When it all came like through the wash, he just didn't have his sort of corruption group. We got something kind of like that.
Yeah, his group, the demons.
Yeah. Just didn't happen. So this is an interesting kind of semi-analog to that premise. In a way, this D-Light.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot to mention, D-Light as a drug, it is supposed to be a sort of pain reliever, or the pentombranol, which is like the medical version. It's supposed to be like a pain reliever, or kind of like something like a miracle drug that is supposed to, like, like cure injuries quicker.
Sure.
But also in a more concentrated form, it will put you into a high like state where you feel as like joyful or happy as possible, while externally you are kind of under the effect of the Martin Lee like corruption touch. It's not something that gets brought up in my scriptment, or like, I mean, my bullet points, but that's what it does essentially.
Interesting.
And so
Cool.
that would help with some of the world building of the movie, to just kind of have that discussed at some point.
Yeah, there would be like when they're in the Lee's Diner, which is supposed to be that the like pizza place from the Spider-Man video game that MJ and Peter go to.
Yeah.
You basically essentially there's a news report going on in the background that kind of gives us all this lore and this world building where we see John Hamm as this the big man, as he is called.
Gosh, it'd be really funny if you had a medical commercial inserted. Like, if you or a loved one have been suffering from these symptoms, try, what is the name?
Pentombrinol.
Side effects may include
It's very
D-Light is like
RoboCop.
the street name of it.
So
Okay.
I like the cold open we have, but I think that the idea of the ad, the commercial, being the cold open and our actual cold open being the opening minutes of the movie, and then having a flash forward. But like, if the cold open is very clearly like shot and staged like a poorly acted medicine commercial, and then like there are hints that it's very clearly has origins in the like the energy that was created from the feast explosion.
Yes.
And that kind of sets you up for like this driving, not MacGuffin, but this driving force of the plot of the story. And then that leads into the Sony, and then fanfare.
My other pitch of how you could do that is in that like blank silence where, again, they're like not really talking as they're driving. You have on the car radio the Pentombrinol commercial going.
Doesn't the but they're driving to feast before the explosion, right?
Oh, 'cause it makes sense that it would not be. Yeah, no. Timeline wise, that does not make sense.
It could
Yeah.
be
Right.
to have like the cold open that we have still work in the timeline. It could be that we have the cold open with the feast explosion, and then we'd be showing our hands, but like after the title sequence, the first thing that we see is this ad, and then you pull back as the ad is ending into the hospital rooms where like Ty and Mandy are just Ty and Andy, my mistake, are just waking up.
I love that. I love
I
that.
like that
a
idea.
lot.
So it's like playing on a TV screen in their room.
Yeah, I that is the kind of like stuff that I think Anthony Hemingway would do in his very like stylized style of directing.
Heck yeah.
Another note I would want to make that is this movie is like the action sequences I want to be as fun and like over the top as possible in how their powers get used. Like, it needs to be some kind like very extreme, like almost I'm trying to think of like James, like a John Wick style action in how stylized and over the top it is.
Remind me again how Cloak and Dagger's powers works. I know Dagger can actually like create blinding light and like manifest it into like crystalline knives. Cloak has like can make portals, or like
Cloak is able to open up a portal to the Dark Force dimension, and he's able to kind of like teleport through that. So essentially, he is able to absorb life and light from something. He's able to teleport, and he's able to like kind of like phase through stuff. Her powers is that she can heal, she can like create light, and then she can shoot out these kind of crystalline energy daggers as well.
so I could see can he put portals in other places, or is he just the
He's
like
kind of the portal himself.
Okay. I was trying to envision like if she could like throw a dagger into him and it would like come out somewhere else, and hit somebody.
See, I think that's not how their powers work in the comics, or they probably have in the past. What you said is cool, and so I think they're able to do that. Again, I just want their powers to look very fun and cool and flashy.
That makes sense. I think that superhero movies always kind of need to get creative with how powers are displayed. And so thinking of things like what Jarrett just said are make for really cool set pieces and moments.
Yeah.
One of the earliest sort of critiques I got in my writing, and this is back in like 2012, I was writing an Assassin's Creed fan fiction. And I remember this like clear as day. I can't find the fanfic anymore, but it was set in the Wild West, and I was writing this Assassin's Creed story, and I wasn't using any of the sort of like things that would make sense for a Wild West assassin to have, or like he was in a saloon, and this person that was reading it told me, "Hey, this has some potential, but I think what you need to think about is one, your character, and also the setting. So, like, if they're in a saloon, they should be tossing bottles or like lobbing chairs around or whatever." And so that's something that I kind of think about when I'm going and writing my action scenes in general, is finding a cool area for the action scenes to take place in. Novocaine kind of does that pretty well. The movie
Yes.
with Jack
God, I
Quaid.
love that movie.
So, like, similarly for Cloak and Dagger, thinking about cool shit that could be done with daggers and Cloak's teleportation abilities and portals and whatever, and also finding cool areas for that to happen in, such as like a museum set piece, or like another sort of homeless shelter that happens to have like a game room and the kitchen and all these different spots. I think that there is a lot of potential with this duo in particular, especially in our sort of universe that we've crafted. I think that this is really tight. I'm intrigued to see more.
Oh yeah.
Wonderful. So the second half of Act Two, they both wake up tied in some sort of basement. They have a kind of a small argument. Notably, the first one that actually seems like they're angry at each other for the movie. Inside of this like basement, there's this like big chemistry option operation under the way. There's this seems to be the place where they're like a kind of manufacturing spot for the pentumbranol. And you see a lot of these equipment in boxes from Marshall Industries. Crucially, we find out that the D-Light and the pentumbranol are actually coming from the same place. There's just what part of it that is more more potent. The big man comes out, aka the what's John Hamm. John Hamm comes out. He kind of does your classic villain monologue and revealing that Marshall has been paying them to release D-Light onto the street as a test run before it kind of works for civilian application, because notably also pentumbranol, these commercials came out. However, it is not gotten FDA approval, and so they're trying to find out the side effects on the homeless people of the city, because quote unquote nobody's going to miss them. And then he mentions a comment of he wants to get rid of them himself, but Despair wants to do it instead. They get left alone and apologize, and the two of them notably apologize to each other. There's a scene where they kind of have again an adult conversation there. A big thing I want to stress about this script is that these two love each other so much, and so even when things are hard or they do get snippy with each other, they work things out and they try to kind of figure stuff out together. very much a heart to heart. They reveal how they love each other a lot, and then Ty reveals that he had completely untied himself while they were monologuing. There's some comment from him about they do that stuff at home, and he does that stuff at home anyway. Wink,
Ooh.
wink, nudge, nudge. Um, they escape out of the chairs that are tied to, and we have an action sequence of a bunch of a bunch of goons who hop themselves up on D-Light. Big ol' hallway fight here, and at the end there is Big Man, which he then takes a bunch of Big Light and then turns into a giant man. Like just
The
like this
biggest
giant,
man.
the biggest man, a giant hulking monstrosity. They beat him and then escape. Again, this would be a long, like, I would imagine in this sequence, you're like in some kind of like chemical laboratory or kind of factory floor. They're finding cool ways of using their powers. Maybe they kind of like he opens up a portal and then drops a bunch of beakers, and then she throws a dagger, and then they all explode into glass, kind of creating a giant AoE effect. Again, I would let the people go as crazy as they wanted with how you would represent this. They get out and they see there's a bunch of police crowding around, and and so they see that they can see off in the distance. Oh, okay, cool. The Statue of Liberty is over there, and they Ty strains himself teleport over to Ellis Island. It's a very cold, empty night there on the at the like inside of on top of the torch of the Statue of Liberty. No one's there, and so it's all pitch black and silent. We kind of have a very quiet moment for once, where they kind of Tandy's like, "Hey, I'm sorry I've been pushing us so hard. I know, like, you didn't want this, and I'm sorry that I've gotten us in trouble." They they apologize, embrace, and so he says, "Hey, that's why I love you. You have the courage to do the stuff that I don't." And she tells him that she loves him because, again, he's so much smarter than her. We get a kind of reminiscent thing of the scene from earlier in the movie. One of them turns on their phone and they turn on the song Blackbird, and they have a small little romantic dance on top of the Statue of Liberty as Blackbird plays in the background. It's this very calm, sweet, romantic moment. And as this happens, they get a notification on their phone that apparently Marshall Industries is going to be calling a press conference tomorrow morning about the state of pentombranol. And they realize, okay, cool, we have to go take him down before they can do this. Because again, this drug that they've been releasing was built off of horrible, horrible means. They teleport throughout the city and get home, and Ty has the idea, okay, I know how we can stay in disguise. He rummages through their closets, and he finds their old Ren Fair outfits, which look conspicuously like their suits from the comics. So he has this long blue and black striped cloak with a gold buckle, with kind of roguish gear underneath, and she has this kind of white and blue, almost like pirate-esque bodice that is not as deep of a V as the original one, because that was very excessive, old comic creators, but this one is very heavily stylized. And the two of them go, "Us against the world," nods, "Us against the world."
Us against the world.
Yeah,
Hell
I
yeah.
had to include some kind of reference to their alt line in Marvel Rivals.
Sick. And is this the end of Act 2?
And that would be the end of Act 2 there.
Interesting. I like the visual idea of the dance on the top of the Statue of Liberty. I think that you could do a lot with Cloak's powers in particular.
It was a
So no
very
joke, actually, that is where the inspiration of Cloak and Dagger came from. The creator of them, what he was sitting on Ellis Island at night, and like you could see all the lights in the city, but how pitch black it was, and so he was kind of thinking about like the cold, crushing darkness between the versus like the light and kind of like vibrant hope of the city
Oh wow.
and he was inspired by that to kind of create the characters. And so I wanted to
yeah.
include that scene as a reference to the origin of where he got the inspiration for the characters.
That's really cool.
And also your classic Sony movie dance sequence.
Thank you.
It didn't even occur to me, but yeah.
Yeah, thank you. This
Gotta have
pass
that.
that mark of the test. JC Chandor didn't even pass that. And you know, we
Look,
talk to him all the time.
I've been a fan of this podcast for a while. It'd be like going on Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe and not referencing rat hands in some way.
True. So real.
Noah has no clue.
I don't.
He does not. Dun, 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 dun.
We got to get you watching the Dark Universe podcast.
It's so good. But yeah, I think that there would probably need to be a little bit more in Act 2, or at least a little. And again, this is a script, man. I would want there to be, because this is, again, a kind of superhero rom-com conspiracy thriller. I would want there to be more, like, conspiracy stuff here
Right.
of them uncovering what's going on, again, with this, like, and also, like, more of that, like, Despair's Children, Bohemian Grove type stuff too.
I'm loving what we've heard so far, and I want to see how we wrap this up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
And so the end of Act 3, they arrive in their kind of Renfer outfits. They arrive at the Marshall Pharmaceuticals headquarters, the kind of office building, and we kind of have a beginning action climax of them kind of fighting their way up through the different layers of the office building, with a bunch of these kind of like soldiers, paramilitary guard type stuff, who are also hopped up on D-Light as well. Very similar to the fights with the kind of demons in the Spider-Man 1 games. And then they get to the top of the office and see Simon Marshall. He kind of like starts boasting, and then as he's doing that, he gets stabbed through the chest with a kind of bloody hand, as we see Dr. Yelise Spare kills him as she takes her hand out of him. Through a monologue, we find out that Dr. Yelise Spare is this kind of ancient entity known as Despair, but spelled with a Y. This ancient force that feeds off the suffering of others. And when asked why are you a technician, she says, I work in an American pharmaceutical company. How would I not want to work at a place like this? Using her kind of psychic powers, using her kind of like dark force powers that she has, she kind of shunts them into this kind of dark force-esque dimension there, where the two of them have to kind of relive their own traumas. We kind of see a little bit of stuff of what's going on with the two of them, a little bit of backstory stuff. Ty watching his friend get killed as a child and he couldn't do anything. Tandy with her heavily abusive and neglectful family. Very similar to that one episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. where Fitz and Simmons are kind of stuck in that mind prison. And so, but as soon as, like,
Loving the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. references.
yes, I would want to do something like that there, but then the two of them fully, like, work together and are able to break out of there through reliving their own traumas and kind of supporting each other through the darkest parts of their lives. They are able to come out not only stronger, but closer as partners in that moment. They kind of go to the top of, as they kind of break out and the Kristen Stewart despair character, kind of goes full demon form and breaks out of the top of the office building and kind of in a King Kong style fight. They are on top of the rooftops of the Marshall Pharmaceuticals building. They're fighting this giant demon. It's again the same kind of high level action that, but like a full on again, like big bombastic fight on top of a building. You see that like a helicopter begins crashing, but then a red and blue figure zips in and creates a giant web, making sure that it doesn't like crash into the ground there. They begin the kind of giant demon begins monologuing, kind of talking about how they'll be able to get away with this. No one is able to like bypass the strongest companies on earth. And then Tandy reveals she was live streaming her entire monologue there. They end up finishing her off she uses her light force powers. She uses her light force powers to kind of purify the demonic elements and kind of force her back into her human form. And then Ty is able to finish her off by using his dark force power, basically sap all of the life force out of her. The next morning, all this information gets released about Marshall Pharmaceuticals online. The kind of realization that they were screwing over all the underprivileged people, kidnapping homeless people. And then the government does nothing about it because they're able to just put out a statement disavowing the former CEO and promising that they're going to be donating a portion of their income to different homeless shelters as a way of getting past it. And they do nothing about it because the government doesn't even care when these companies do horrible things. But we kind of see this short little shot here of a homeless person who is about to get attacked, and then Cloak and Dagger in these outfits come out and fight them off, becoming the full heroes of the underprivileged people of New York.
Nice.
Cool.
I love this.
Me too. So wait, real quick. Did Big Man die? John Hamm die?
Post-credit scene, I think that Big Man we see a Big Man of like we see that he's in jail or something, but he's like vowing revenge on them.
Cool. We got to keep Big Man around.
Yeah, we gotta keep Big Man. I think the fans are gonna be clamoring for a Big Man movie after this.
Big guy. SpongeBob Big guy.
Big Wheel has Big Hands on Kicks.
Yes.
Big Wheel, Big Man, Big Wheel Man.
Big Wheel Man.
Man Wheel.
But yeah, a couple of notes I had for myself. I would, again, definitely want to weave more of like the despair stuff in earlier in the movie as well, kind of being like, okay, how is despair and the Marshall Pharmaceuticals company both involved with each other? Like, oh, okay, cool. Dr. Yulise Speyer was secretly working behind the scenes kind of as the second in command to this pharmaceutical company, feeding off of the suffering that she was causing.
Sure. Interesting.
So is the drug still out there? Like on the streets?
I think that the drug is still on the streets. Like,
got it.
Because again, like, I think that there's a level of like media is best when it is hopeful, but also I think there's a thing of like you don't want to provide false hope, and there's that realistic thing of cool. The company was able to just get off scot-free by claiming that they like firing the people involved or distancing themselves. Meanwhile, the drug is still ravaging the streets as well. But Cloak and Dagger are now the heroes of the unhoused people and the underprivileged of New York City, and that is what they are fighting off.
Cool. Sick.
I want to say I found, like, as we were reading, because I looked up like an actor name or like like an origin issue. I think it was when we were talking about the owl or the big man.
Yeah.
I found the character Despair completely on my own, like 10 minutes before the reveal of Despair in this, and I was like, that's a cool villain. We should use them at some point.
So funny.
Yeah. I also think that having a like demon who feeds off of pain and suffering in charge of an American pharmaceuticals company is
Brilliant. Perfect.
Yeah, really funny.
And first appeared in a team up issue of Marvel team up with Spider-Man and Man-Thing.
Oh my goodness. 2 of the guest pitches now, Will, yours and Dalton's, both feature demons, and yet does not feature the biggest demon of Spider-Man story, the guy that steals his marriage. So
what was his name again?
We'll talk about him.
Oh yeah, Mephiles.
Mephiles.
No,
Mephisto,
I think it's pronounced
Euphisto,
Memphis, Tennessee.
Mephisto.
I think it's
the
I think it's
tilted towers.
I get absolutely tilted at the towers.
So you got post-credit scenes?
Oh, I did not really come up with a post-credit scenes for this one. I did think that we do see Big Man.
Okay.
Just doing whatever.
I think we see Big Man in jail vowing his revenge on Cloak and Dagger, Michael Mando style, but also like Michael Mando, Big Man never comes back. And so it's just a like lingering thread because I do think that this is a Sony movie and there is a lot of like wasted potential as well.
He's Mr. Mind in the Shazam movies.
Like Mr. Mind in the Shazam movies.
I
Two
could
post-credit
foresee
scenes and then never again.
maybe a post-credit scene where Wilson Fisk shows up and talks to him, and he's like, "I got plans for you," and then just walks away.
Yeah.
and then
Big Man's like, all right.
okay,
Maybe there's
right.
some type of post-credit scene involving Martin Lee or something. I don't know. But again,
We
ready
have
to
not
move
talked
into
about
the
Martin
big
Lee.
time, big man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like one of the things I wanted to characterize most about their relationship is that Ty and Tandy love each other so much. And they're a couple that, again, they work through their problems and they don't let things fester. Because I think one of the biggest trappings about modern stuff where it has a relationship as part of like the core characters or the core cast is that they're like, oh, let's do the relationship and let's kind of break them up. And I'm like, that's boring. I want to see a couple that is nice and lovey to each other and actually will work things through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree.
It's similarly to how a comment we made in the very first episode with Eddie and Anne's relationship, where it was like, yeah, they aren't together by the end of the trilogy or anything like that, but it's important and good for romantic relationships to be shown, like for a clean separation to also be shown. It's like, it's okay for these people to have decided they don't work together and still be friends and have like positive relationship with one another despite not being romantically involved. It's like that stuff does happen, and it's a good thing to show it in movies.
Yeah. And again, they love each other so much. And I think that's the key part of it.
Yeah. Will, you've brought us a really cool thing.
Thank you.
This is really cool.
Do we want to declare this canon?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Alrighty. I was down. Yeah, this is a pretty nice companion piece to Lethal Protectors. I think that like Yeah, this really works pretty well, and I could even foresee Cloak and Dagger showing up.
Truly, y'all can do whatever you want with these characters. You just can't break them up. That's my one rule.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Works for me.
Do you have? I think we're gonna probably start winding down now. Do you have anything that you want to promote, Will?
Yes. If you haven't done so already, please check out the channel You Begin in a Tavern. First Monday of the month. First Monday of the month is when my show comes out, the Tavern Side Chats. Next week, next month, I believe. No, next week actually. We will most likely have. Wait, no. This is probably coming out in February. Never mind.
Yeah.
February.
You'll have just about a week ago after a week before this comes out, we will have released our interview with the creator of the Pokemon's RPG system. In the beginning of March, we will have our interview with Brian from the YouTube channel The Anime Void up. Yeah, check out our one shots and the Abilene Untold series as well. I'm trying to think of anything else I have to check out my art Instagram. It is at
Pokemon.
Jackalope Art at Jackalope Art _, and cause. I post a lot of fake mod content on there and a lot of my own cosplay content. I will have kind of posted a lot of cosplays that I have made for my upcoming convention that I'm going to as well, that I was invited to speak at.
Congrats.
Yeah. I think that's all I have to promote.
And all of these will be in the description as well. So be sure to check out You Begin in a Tavern and with the art page. We in 2 weeks we will be coming back with Shocker. Or Jared, what's the title of this?
Shocker. I'm up to this point it's been called Ends of the Earth. Shocker Ends of the Earth. I'm not gonna change it, but I may redact, I may rescind the Ends of the Earth because it's becoming smaller scale than that, and I feel like I'm duping people if I make them believe that it's gonna be like, oh, we're globe trotting around and going to all these big crazy places.
Shocker.
It's more just a reference.
Nice.
Alrighty, cool. Yeah, and then after that we'll have another guest episode. I can't quite tell y'all who it'll be. And also you will have noticed that this episode has released on a Wednesday. That's right, y'all. We are now going to start releasing our episodes on Wednesdays instead of the Sundays that we were usually doing. On the one hand, it's to give our wonderful editor Andy more time to edit, and also it's to kind of make this feel like another on New Comic Book Day. So Wednesdays are our new episode day going forward. And then what else do we have? Oh, that's right.
They can't reveal the next guest because it's
Oh, what were you saying, Will?
they can't reveal the next guest because it's Tom Hardy. He's coming on and canonizing everything that you've written for I almost said the Dark Universe for
That is true. We are having Tom Hardy. One last little thing. We are going to be starting to read 5-star reviews of our podcast at the end of every episode. So if you want to have your review possibly read on the pod, be sure to submit a 5-star review to your podcast app. Oftentimes we will be checking the Apple Podcasts and YouTube, and also Amazon Podcast.
He's gone.
you vanished into the void, into the Dark Force dimension, unfortunately.
Caesar or whatever. So this
You're
one,
gonna have to repeat all that
Yeah,
separately.
you truly just
for-
cut out for all of that.
did I just die? Did I die?
You
You
did.
died. You went to the dark first dimension.
I saw God.
Yeah.
God's head. Did it say anything else? Oh,
You were
Lord. So what did
taken down by JC Chandor.
He's coming for you.
I just
Because you hit him with a car.
the internet's starting to die on my end. Let's wrap this up really fast. We are going to
He's
start
coming.
reviews.
It's happening
Oh
again.
no. The
We
storm's
gotta
getting
wrap it
him.
real quick. We're gonna.
We will be reading 5-star reviews on the podcast. So if you would like to leave some, that'd be awesome. We'll read yours on online.
Be sure to check out the Blue Sky, the Instagram, all of the places, all of the socials.
Yes.
We're going to start regularly posting again, trying to, as we are officially back for the second half of phase 2. And we're just going to hit the ground running every other Wednesday, new episode, and till we get to our inevitable phase 2 conclusion. So get excited for that. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next time. I'm Jarrett.
This review comes from This review comes from This review comes from Forget Kansas LXLR. Andy, put this a bit earlier. This review comes from Forget Kansas LXLR. It's titled, "Yes, guys, I think this has something to do with Spider-Man." It is 5 stars. This podcast is a lot of fun, and I'm not just saying that as a person who enjoys having fun. I love Blue Harvest. Blue Harvest is great. Spider-Man appears in this podcast, so I think it has to do with Spider-Man. Blue Harvest, Big Wheel, Blue Harvest, Walton Goggins. I think this is Luke. Alrighty. Thank you so
Incredible.
much. Jared, you do
Thank
the
you so
sign
much.
off.
We'll catch you in 2 weeks. Y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
I'm Noah.
I'm paying.
I will.